Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Malicious Compliance. Story 1. Another manager won't believe their worker could be sick. This happened almost a year ago. I don't work there anymore, so now I feel safe posting. I used to earn some pocket money as a tutor working with K-12 kids in an after-school program. Last fall I got the flu. Coughing, hacking, sneezing, fever. I was definitely sick and definitely contagious. The problem was I had also developed laryngitis, meaning I couldn't call off work as I couldn't speak. I texted and emailed my boss at 9 a.m. to let them know. Shift started at 4 p.m. 4 hours later, 1 p.m., they replied. Sorry. We can't find someone to take over for you. Guess you'll have to come in. I sat there panicking because I didn't want to A. Get the kids sick and B. Make myself worse by working with kids. I begged them to reconsider. No dice. I texted co-workers seeing if someone could trade shifts. No luck. Then I remembered an interesting policy. Tutors were required to be there 20 minutes before their first student arrived so they could get the area ready with needed materials, read over notes from previous sessions, set up their table with school supplies, etc. I also remembered I was the first person scheduled, meaning that, when I got there, I would be the only person there besides administration. I purposely didn't take any medicine for the rest of the day. My symptoms went from annoying to bad. I was hacking. My eyes looked glassy. I was extremely pale. Whole shebang. I then put on 3/95 masks, changed my clothes, and put on 2 layers of surgical gloves. No reason to get the kids sick, although they were probably the ones to give it to me in the first place. Then I walked into the admin's office sounding like I had the plague. A perfectly timed sneeze and coughing fit hit me just as I approached the open door. Her office was quite long, so I never got within 10 feet of her. Still, she looked panicked as I croaked. Well, I'm here. Amazingly, she found a way to take over my students that day. I was in the building for less than 5 minutes. Edit, caught a typo. Story 2. Big Study Association tries to strong-arm smaller study association gets angry when the tables turn. Recently, a meet-up with some old schoolmates jogged my memory about a bit of cheeky compliance from my days as a student computer engineering. I was part of a computer engineering study association in the Netherlands. Wondering what a study association is? Well, it's like a fraternity for a specific study, but not all about parties and drinking. It's more about organizing enlightening guest lectures, assisting teachers with study-related events, and helping first-year students navigate the curriculum. One of our annual traditions was hosting a weekend getaway for first-year students just before the school year commenced. This event aimed to help them connect with their peers before classes began, all while having some fun, and maybe convincing them to join our association. Most freshman computer engineering students weren't big on drinking and partying, so our weekend typically consisted of enjoyable campus activities and a cozy evening campfire. On the opposite end of the spectrum was our sister study association, let's call them Other ASSO. They represented the students in less tech-related computer studies within our faculty, like IT management, security, front-end design, and so on. Compared to us, Other ASSO had a massive member count. For the first-year students they organized a week filled with parties, alcohol, and party-related games. Fortunately, they were located in the main university building in the neighboring city, so we rarely crossed paths. Each year, Other ASSO received the contact list of first-year students starting at the main university building, while we got the list of first-year computer engineering students. Our list had about 80 students, while theirs had around 300. We would contact these students via mail and phone to promote our first-year weekend, and we usually managed to gather a cozy group of 10 to 15 students to join us. However, disaster struck when the faculty accidentally sent both lists to both associations. We decided to meet with Other ASSO and politely ask them to focus on their own students to avoid poaching from our weekend. Their response, in essence, was, it's not our problem that you guys only promote to computer engineering students. We are a faculty-wide event, and we promote to the entire faculty, which now includes computer engineering. This was disheartening. We lacked the resources and manpower to compete with their large-scale promotions. It seemed like we'd be lucky to get 5 students to sign up. As we brainstormed our next move, I suggested, why not take their advice? If they claim to be faculty-wide, why don't we become one ourselves? What followed was a thing of beauty. We designed a new website promoting our event as the ultimate weekend getaway for all computer-related studies. We crafted new flyers and worked tirelessly to be the first to reach the incoming students before other ASO could send out their promotions. The fallout was swift, taking only half a day after we launched our campaign. Other ASO called us frantically, demanding to know why their first-year students were already signing up for another faculty-wide event. We calmly responded that we were merely following their example and were expanding our reach faculty-wide as well. After an awkward pause, they asked if we could stick to our lane. We reiterated our initial proposal, they promote to their studies, and we promote to ours. They accepted. In the end, we sent out a message suggesting that students studying at the main building might find it more enjoyable to attend other ASO's week away, and vice versa. It turned out to be a fantastic first-year weekend getaway for everyone involved. TLDR, a large student association tried to promote their event to the members of a smaller association. When smaller association does the same to them, chaos ensues. Story 3. Okay, I'll break it if that's what you want. Drive at the end. So I'm in the transportation industry, formerly a mechanic on tractor trailers. Every year leading up to winter we'd do a battery test to make sure the batteries aren't getting weak and will leave the driver stranded. It's not terribly in-depth, just pull the battery cables off, wipe the dirt and road grime off, hook up the tester and test, then hook up the batteries again after the test. Well, this particular night I had 2 new guys shadowing me and I taught them how to properly do this test. I didn't take the cables 100% apart because doing so would have broken them. Clean the batteries and test successfully and put the truck back together. Manager comes over like 30 minutes later saying I didn't do the test at all. Says the batteries are dirty and I lied and faked the results. Even though I had 2 new guys say otherwise. Had me come in the office to get written up and told to do it again since truck had to go back at close of business. Took everything apart 110% by the book. Broke a few battery cables and surprise we don't have the parts to replace them, so truck is stuck at the shop when it should go back and he gets chewed out and made to do more work to find a replacement. Dr. Boss wrote me up saying I lied and didn't do the work. I did it again to his standards, which broke things and created more work and headache for him. Story 4. The diagram is no longer ugly. We had a report due to the client the next day. It contained a complex, detailed engineering diagram. The diagram was so detailed it could be hard to find where certain input/output connections were, so I decided to add a simple black and white diagram showing the relative positions of those connections. Boss conducts his last-minute review, doesn't think the new diagram looks very good, and wants me to do something about it. To be fair, next to the fancy multicolored engineering diagram, it does look unimpressive. But I have other things to do, so I just delete it. Boss is annoyed, as he clearly wanted me to spruce it up, but he can't force me to spend time on an optional diagram when I have other more important things to do. Story 5. Christmas Ask and You Shall Received. This Christmas malicious compliance is more ask and you should receive situation that was done on me by my parents when I was a kid. My parents would often tell them what I want for Christmas, so one Christmas I decided to be funny. I wrote down a Porsche and a Ferrari. Well, they got me, in a form of Hot Wheels toy cars. The following Christmas, I decided to challenge them. I saw a jockey ad of Jim Palmer wearing bikini-style briefs. The ones that came in a plastic tube. I showed that to my dad and said, "Good luck finding that on boy's size." That was a mistake in my part. As it turns out, Jockey actually made those. As I opened my presents, I saw 2 tubes of it. I thought they don't exist. A little embarrassed about wearing those. Early 90s. Note, Jockey have stopped making kids' underwear. Low sales they say. Story 6. I guess I will just have to use my initiative then. In the 90s, I was working for a company where I had to write guidelines for installing equipment on military ships. I had to install a desktop PC, monitor, keyboard and printer in certain positions around the ship. Being military equipment, it was ruggedest and looked awful. I was let into a captain's cabin/office/dayroom space on a RFA, UK Navy support ships, and started to measure up for an installation. I was trying to find a space to fit it that was accessible but not too obtrusive. The captain came in, started to get angry about technology being fitted into his personal space and told me to fuck off out of his office. I tried to explain what I was doing, but he wasn't having any of it and I was thrown out of the office and off the ship. The equipment was due to be fitted during a refit, where the ship's company left the ship whilst it was in dock, rejoining it later. Not having any measurements or details for my installation, I best guessed the positions for maximum awkwardness and the cherry on top was positioning his equipment right in the middle of his old wooden desk. Story 7. You want me to brew coffee? Fine. I had a job, many years ago, at a call center. We had a nice break room. 3 fridges, a bagel toaster, huge sign, with "Do not leave unattended" on it, amazing little fire hazard, bread toasters, and an older coffee maker. Many of the employees were horribly addicted. I mean, to coffee, yes, but also nicotine, Mary Jane, and more difficult substances, shall we say. This story, obviously, involves the coffee maker. It also involves myself, and my manager. I was, out of the blue, instructed to take over coffee maker duties. Great. Only one huge problem. I don't drink coffee. Coffee made me sick, small quantities would make me vomit if they were in anything I ate or drank. Since I don't drink coffee, I generally have no idea how to make coffee. I mean, you take ground up beans, put them in a filter, and run hot water through, and coffee comes out the bottom. The machine was a professional grade brewer, it was provided by a company that also stocked our vending machines. This wasn't a unit you could go to Walmart or Target and purchase, it was more industrial than that. It also didn't have any instructions. I asked my coworker for some help, and he must have thought I was joking, because he told me to add 2 cups of coffee from pre-ground, sealed packets to the hopper on top of the machine. Now, I'm not stupid, and here's where the malicious compliance comes from. I followed his instructions. It was glorious. All of my coffee-addicted coworkers were jittery, their teeth turned black, and they frequently had coffee grounds in their teeth. There was a distinct burned coffee smell in the break room. After a few days, my manager asked me WTF I was doing to the coffee. And this time, she actually listened when I told her I didn't drink coffee. Upon realizing this, she laughed, and selected the coworker that instructed me on the proper operation of the machine to become the designated coffee brewer. Everyone found this funny, many while jittering away in their tiny cubicles. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.